Losing someone close to you, whether family, friend, or someone dear to your community, is never easy. But when people come together to celebrate their life and remember them fondly, it often helps to ease some of the pain. Hi everyone, I'm Johnny Thompson and welcome once again to the Village Halls podcast, sponsored by Allied Westminster, the UK's largest specialist provider of village hall insurance and the home of Village Guard. Now, last year, the Village Hall in Croft-on-Tees in North Yorkshire became the centre point of an event that no one had foreseen or would really have wanted to have happened in the first place. It was an event to remember a much-loved member of their community, Johnny Preston, who had sadly passed away far too early in life. A group of Johnny's friends wanted to provide a fitting tribute, and today I'm joined by one of that group, Richard Coates, who is going to tell us the story of what happened to Johnny and how they turned his passing into a day of contribution and remembrance. Hi, Richard. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, pleasure to be here.
Now, Richard, before we get on to talking about Johnny and what happened there in Croft last year, tell me a little bit about your village and the local community.
Croft-on-Tees, a small village just outside of Darlington, and I moved here when I was 10, and then after university I just lived in Darlington. But then I had the opportunity to move back into my childhood home because my mum and dad wanted to downsize within the village.
Right.
So that was 15 years ago, and like my mum and dad, I've become very much involved in the village hall. Mm-hmm. I'm a committee member, and like many village halls, it plays a critical role in community life, providing a safe place for classes and parties and events and everything else in between.
So you're following in family footsteps in many respects with your involvement with the community there.
Yeah, I really couldn't avoid it.
I like it. Yeah, brilliant. And Johnny Preston, Richard, a great friend of yours, and a few other local lads, I gather, and a pivotal figure in community life there as well. What was he like, Richard?
Yeah, he was, I guess for anyone who lives in a village, you always have characters that everyone knows, and Johnny was certainly that in Croft. He was always happy to talk to anyone about anything, and he was particularly in his element when he was the centre of attention. So as an example, when we had a pantomime in the village and he was picked out to go up on stage, I don't think he was embarrassed by it. In fact, I think he absolutely loved it. However, his daughter, I'm pretty sure she was mortified by the whole event.
He wasn't the dame, was he?
No, but I think if he'd had the option, he would have definitely volunteered for that as well.
He would have taken it. Fantastic. And did he help people locally and things like that as well? Was he that kind of character?
Yeah, if any village event, he was always there. He would offer to set up or tidy up or do anything during the event. He was just integral to village life, really. And with several men in the village, we did a lot of activities together. So he participated in walking in the lakes, running, cycling, squash. He did Tough Mudders with some of the guys in the village.
He did what?
Tough Mudders.
What's that?
So it's like it's a run, but then with obstacle courses in the middle, whether it be going into a skip filled with cold water or climbing a rope ladder or
I've got you.
Not pleasant, not something I volunteered for, but he did several of them.
So he was up for anything, basically.
Absolutely,
is what you were saying. Yeah. And one of the boys, one of your boys as well, and you went away on a few trips together over the years as well, didn't you?
Yes. So we had several trips to Germany. One of the group is German, which helps. So we had cultural trips to Germany around the back end of September, October time. But they also usually involved hiking up the nearest mountain at some point, usually with Johnny being miles ahead of the rest of us who were struggling, but he used to go up with ease.
Fantastic. Cultural trip to Germany around about October, and a certain fest, perhaps, might have played a part in that, I wonder.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
They are the lips that are sealed of a British man. Always good. I'm very proud of you, Richard. Well done. No stories to share then.
No.
Brilliant. And yeah, tragically, Johnny passed away though, didn't he, last year at just 46 years of age. What happened, Richard?
So last year, earlier in the year, he went to get checked out, and they found quite a large tumour on the brain, which was removed. And we thought he came out of it, and we hoped and thought he was on the mend. But yeah, sadly, only a year ago, last October, he passed. And although it was inevitable towards the end, it was still a massive shock, and something we're still coming to terms with almost a year on, really.
Yeah, of course. And he was quite a fit guy, as you've already alluded to as well, wasn't he, Richard? He liked running in particular. I understand it. In fact, it was the running, wasn't it, that gave you and your friends that idea for the event that you subsequently organised to remember Johnny, to celebrate his life, yeah?
Yeah. So when at the start of this year, so a couple of months after he passed, we met as a group in the village on what would have been his birthday. And the conversation came round to what would be a fitting tribute to celebrate Johnny's life, and at the same time raise some money for the brain tumour charity as well. And it was Jörg, our village resident German, who made the suggestion to do something close to home within the village and utilise we've got a circular river walk around the village. So that's where the conversation started. But we wanted something a bit bigger, a bit different to just a fun run. Hence, the 24-hour endurance element was conceived.
And that became known as the Jog for Johnny, yeah?
And that's what it was coined as.
Yeah. And the village hall, I understand, also became the centre, the focal point.
The village hall was always going to be the epicentre for any activity that took place over the duration of the event, because it is a massive part in community life, but also the only venue big enough to accommodate what we were planning in terms of managing the runners and giving out medals and running tombolas and raffles and drinks and food and everything else.
Yeah, it's a fairly new facility as well, isn't it? It was just built around 3 years ago, is that right?
Yeah, so we had the previous village hall, which was several years past its sell-by date, and we managed to get some funding to have a new village hall built, and that was maybe 4 or 5 months before COVID hit, so we had limited time to utilise the facility, and so its use, this wonderful brand new building, was limited until the start of this year, really.
Yeah. So how did the Jog for Johnny Day go, Richard? I hope the weather held up for a start.
Well, we were really fortunate with the weather. The problem was, although we'd advertised it and put it out there on Facebook and told people about it, we just didn't know what volumes were going to turn up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd had an inkling because I'd asked for donations for raffle and tombola prizes, and we were inundated. So I got a sense that it was going to be a good turnout, but we were really blown away by the volume of people that turned out and the generosity of people on the day.
Yeah.
It really was quite emotional for those involved, either his close friends and his family as well.
Yeah. So I mean, it sounds like the most of the people in the village made an appearance. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. It was, and if they weren't able, they donated to a prize, or they sponsored on the GoFundMe page.
Yeah.
And then there were football teams that his sons were involved in, and they turned up en masse. His friends that he went running and jogging with. So there were different groups of people, and it's always nice when you get people from outside the village come and get involved in as well. Because the weather was, right until the last lap, I think we had some rain, and for the guys who'd been running, I think that they were probably quite grateful for that.
Welcome relief.
Yeah, but it always helps if it's a nice day.
And you said it was raising funds for a brain tumour charity as well. How much did you raise?
From all the events and the donations we've had, we raised just over £7,600, which far exceeded any estimations we had when we first instigated the idea.
Yeah.
So we were blown away by that.
Yeah, for a single local village event, that's as everybody who's listening out there and will know that I've run these things, they'll know that that's a fantastic total. So well done, guys. And I guess it was, you mentioned emotional day. I guess it was a day of real mixed emotions. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were several elements. There was obviously what we were there to celebrate, but I think combined with that was the fact that we hadn't had a village event on this scale because of the restrictions of COVID. Yeah. As a village, it was just amazing to come together, and then in one huge joint effort, despite the unfortunate circumstances of the occasion.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was amazing to have his family, including his 3 children, and they participated in the first and the last lap. Yeah. And for them to witness how much he meant to so many people.
What do you think Johnny would have made of it all, Richard?
Well, I remember his mum, who I became very close to in the last months of his life. She said to me that he would have loved it, and I think that she was spot on.
Yeah,
I think it was just testament to how much he meant to so many people. So a very fitting tribute.
Yeah. And I guess this has left with you with a warm feeling about your community there in Croft-on-Tees as well, yeah?
Oh, absolutely. And I've said that in the post I did after the event to thank people. Yeah. I said how fortunate we are to have such a fantastic community in the village, and that it's something we should never take for granted.
Listen, thank you so much for coming on and telling us the story of the Jog for Johnny event, and fitting with everything you've described, Richard. I'm pleased to announce that Croft and your village hall have been nominated for our Wonderful Villages Inspirational Story Award this year as well. So well done with that.
Excellent, thanks.
It's a sad story, of course, and we're all so sorry for your and Johnny's family loss. But we think, the way you've turned it into something where the entire community could remember your friend and raise important funds at the same time, really is truly inspirational.
I know it's, to be honest, it was a fantastic day for a fantastic man to celebrate his life and what he meant to so many people.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Richard. Please pass on, my best wishes to your friends and to Johnny's family as well, of course.
Yeah, I will do.
And again, sorry for your loss.
Yeah, no, it helps to. It's funny. It helps to talk about it because it's not something that you do talk about. I'm very much someone who will write something down. Yeah. So I was writing things down and getting quite emotional about that because you sort of it brings it all back. But
it's difficult, but it's that positive side to it, an element to it. And Johnny certainly sounds like he would have been the kind of character that would have wanted to be remembered that way, rather than everybody, being sad and down about it.
Absolutely,
yeah. And that's where we must leave our latest episode. Keep submitting your entries to our Wonderful Villages Awards. There's 5 awards altogether, each with a prize of £1,000 for your local village church or community hall. You can find more information about the awards on our website. Many thanks also to our headline sponsor and specialist insurance provider, Allied Westminster, for making our podcast possible, and whose services you can discover more about at villageguard.com, and to online booking system provider Hallmaster, who also sponsor our podcast and can be found at hallmaster.co.uk. You've been listening to the Village Halls podcast, a unique listening community for Britain's village, church and community halls, and anyone interested in the vital community services they provide. We'll be back again soon with another episode, so please visit thevillagehallspodcast.com to subscribe, sign up for updates, link through to our social media pages, and to find out more. But until the next time, goodbye for now.